Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode here on HC Brief. And this week we actually have the sump that arrives, as well as we check out another few things here on the 180.5 by Waterbox. So without any further ado, I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty excited to get that sump open. Let's check it out. Upon quick inspection, I don't see anything. There's a small little surface gash here, but that's just, again, it's just the outer surface. Believe it or not, I was actually going to head to Lowe's and get some wood, and guess what? I just got some extra wood. This is the Bash C Smart Series 3618, so it's 36 inches by 18 inches front to back sump. One thing really drew me to this sump when I was searching and looking for one to order was this bad boy here is able to run various different types of methods, whether Triton method, Berlin, standard method. I mean, there's so many versions. As you can see, the first compartment here doesn't really have filter socks themselves, although it does come with the holders. They give you a few of these mesh ones here. But if you're doing the Triton method, you could obviously remove these. It's a big, I would say about 17, 18 gallon refugium setup, assuming you run the water all the way to the top here. Skimmer section, reactor section, and finally a return section. And of course you can easily flip that around. You can make this skimmer section, refugium, or just have a bunch of reactors here, a bunch of reactors here. Or another thing that really intrigued me, have a skimmer and reactor section and a beautiful frag section here, or equipment section here, frag section here. I think you guys get the idea. It's a very versatile system. Comes with 3 drains. I want to say these are 1.25 inches. Haven't measured them yet, but they look to be about 1.25 inches. Wire management for your power. And lastly here, if you're dosing anything, some probe holders. Or actually no, probe holders here. These I would say are for sure the dosing holders themselves. So a total of 3 dosing holders, 1 probe holder, 3 socks, 3 drains. I love it. That seems to have gone in pretty easily.
That's what she said.
I have a little bit of space here on the right, but I figured having a bigger sump is a lot better than having a smaller one. I think the stock one would only go to about here. This is obviously just going to increase the volume, the water volume. My favorite part about having an acrylic sump is this part right here. If any acrylic companies out there want to hire me just to do this, Actually, I would do this for free. I'm happy I ended up going with this version of the Bash C, the Smart Series, because you can really see now just how much space you have here in the first and second compartment. And like I said, you can use this as a fuge section. If you're not doing a fuge section, you can put your reactors in here. You can make this a frag section, or vice versa, make this that, and obviously plenty of return pump space. So all in all, I'm very happy with my purchase here on the Bash C. If you remember from last week, I ended up taking the tank off the stand again to properly level it, but while I did that, it's a lot easier to move the stand and work on the back end of it. What I've went ahead and did is actually mount the Current USA backlights. You can see them right here with the brackets, and these are actually hard mounted, so you screw them onto the back of the stand. Same with this side, and now what you can do is probably use a rubber O-ring. Actually, I have a rubber O-ring. You can strap on the top of it to hold it down. These zip tie holders make wire management a whole lot easier, especially when you're mounting stuff to the back of the cabinet. You can see there, just what I would recommend is probably cleaning it with alcohol, whatever surface you're doing it to, and then you can see it makes your wire management a lot cleaner.
A few moments later.
Filled it up for the leak test. It's been sitting here for a total of 3 days. Have no leaks whatsoever. I'm pretty comfortable with it. Another thing I do need to do that I just realized is I want to black out the whole bottom of the tank, just because, you know, I feel the fish will feel a little bit safer. I'm not sure if I need to do the right, the left side and the back, but for sure I need to do the bottom. I'll probably end up just painting that on, either Plasti-Dip or various other paints to achieve that. But all I'm going to do now is empty it out. I need to move the tank out of this way because I want to paint this wall. A lot of, you know, it may not bug a lot of you, but certainly it'll bug me. So before I do get this tank here, I want to move this out, move the fridge out, and then I'm going to be able to paint that wall. Before I do continue, I do want to paint it. So what I ended up using is some Krylon Color Max paint and primer. This is a satin black. I really don't think it matters if you do gloss black or satin black. I think it's going to appear glossy either way because the background, which is going to become the front, is glossy, being glass. So I'm going to do the back of it a solid black as well as the bottom. I feel this is going to make the fish feel a little bit safer, and the sides are going to remain clear as well as the front. So I've went ahead and masked off the sides. I've masked off the front of it. So now all there is to do is to paint the top in the black. One recommendation when you guys are painting glass, paint doesn't tend to adhere too much. Obviously, we're not going to be scraping it. So you want to start with just fogging it very lightly at the beginning, letting that coat fully dry, and then come on back with probably 2 to 3 coats, even 4 coats very lightly, because again, it is glass. So it doesn't adhere as it is too well. So just start with fogging it. You don't want to lay it too thick on the first layer. The quarantine is also coming along. I made sure and I painted both the back and the bottom. I feel it looks a little bit better, especially when the fish is there. He, you know, it has a black bottom to look at on the bottom. On the back, it's solid. So I feel he should be a little bit more comfortable, or they should, since it is going to be quarantining multiple fish. But I just felt like this, they should feel a little bit safer. I went ahead and installed my Illumagic strip lights on the top. They're actually doing a really good job here. Put in some of the Carib Sea rock, and yeah, I probably won't have the quarantine with rock. I just did it for now. It kind of keeps me happy and makes me feel like I got a tank. Typically when it comes to quarantines, you don't want to have rock in there or sand, because especially rock, they tend to absorb any of the medication you're obviously trying to medicate your fish with. This week we had the all-new Great White GW12 DC skimmer arrive. So the main difference, you guys remember I ran the previous version, the AC version, on my 50 gallon, had no issues with it. The main difference on this one, they did change the design on the cup and how it locks in to the neck here, as well as the main body assembly. One of the biggest changes, obviously the DC pump, you guys can see on the bottom, and you may notice something a little bit different on the skimmer. You're like, where is the air silencer, right? It doesn't have an air silencer. Well, believe it or not, the air silencer is built into the neck of the skimmer, which is not removable. This is a one-piece design to this piece, but obviously it makes it look a lot sleeker. They didn't remove the air adjustment, which is one thing I really love on a skimmer. You know, without an air adjustment, I typically find they're a little bit hard to adjust, but air adjustment and DC, it should be very simple to adjust and get the proper skimming. So that's going to be it, guys, for this week's episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. More importantly, hopefully you like that new sump from Bash Sea. I could see so many options of how I can run that sump, so many different options as far as equipment. You know, to me, it really seemed like a versatile sump, which is why I ended up going with that sump over other sumps. Other than that, the tank is coming along as you've seen. It's we're still missing lights, wave makers, and the main pump, of course. Other than that, that's pretty much all it's waiting for. I still need to order the 80/20 light mounts that I'm going to obviously DIY to have the lights hang over the top. But other than that, it's almost on its final stages of being complete. The lights, wave makers, and main pump, all those should arrive in a package from Ecotech Marine, which we should be getting hopefully here in the next month. With this whole coronavirus, you know, a lot of stuff has been delayed from a lot of manufacturers out there. So that's kind of what the holdup is right now. Other than that, luckily all this has given me a little bit of time, actually a lot of bit of time, to make sure everything is done correctly. One of the next things I'm gonna be focusing on, now that the sumps arrived, is plumbing. I know a lot of people hate plumbing, a lot of people don't like doing plumbing. Personally, I love plumbing. It's one of my biggest enjoyments when it comes to setting up a new reef tank. I think hopefully within the next week I'll finalize that order. Another good thing I want to let you guys know, I am going to be doing a UV sterilizer, which is going to be a whole nother topic I'd love to chat about in a future video. But I'm also going to have to incorporate that because I want to hard plumb that in. Aside from that, guys, that's going to be pretty much it for this week's video. Stay tuned for next week. Next Sunday, we are going to be doing the aquascaping video. I think you guys are really going to enjoy that one. Like I said, I'm not going to go into too detail because I do have actually quite a few detailed videos when it comes to aquascaping. That one is just really going to give you guys an overview, some pointers, my thoughts, and my processes of when I do an aquascape. So hopefully you can learn something new in that one. So stay tuned for next week's episode. Really hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, you know where to leave those. If I earned your subscription, please be sure to subscribe. If I earned your thumbs up, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. So thank you guys very much. As always, happy reefing.